One, y'all want to see a dead body? To quote Boys in the Hood, Katie Porter's candidacy for Democrat governor of California might have just exploded and fallen like a dead body in the alley right here for you on TV. Two, Jon Stewart joins the vilification of ICE, and it is the Red River Shootout. So let's bring in an Oklahoma senator, or rather an Oklahoma commentator, or rather an Oklahoma Sooner, Jeffrey Mead. 3, Representative Riley Moore joins us to talk about a new proposal to give a medal to the soldiers working at the border, and Zach Bryan and Jerry Jones in Final Takes. It is Will Cain country on this Wednesday. Coming out of the gates hot, coming out of the gates stumbling, coming out of the gates like tinfoil Pat. I couldn't remember, or I couldn't get the words straight coming out of my mouth. He's not an Oklahoma senator. He's not an Oklahoma commentator. He's an Oklahoma Sooner. He's also a very, very popular political commentator on TikTok, on Instagram, on social media. But he is a former Oklahoma Sooner. Jeffrey Mead's going to join us a little bit later here in the program. But first, y'all want to see a dead body? Story number 1. Katie Porter is running for governor of California. She is a Democrat. She is leading in most of the polls, or at least she was. This before she sat down with a reporter from CBS to answer what looked like a series of questions written out on a sheet of paper that's been presented to all the candidates for governor of California. But these questions, well, they weren't very appreciated by Katie Porter. Let's watch.
Yeah. Do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters. Okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered our follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter.
we're just going to circle around.
Oof. Ugly moment there for Katie Porter. Her objection seems to be that she wants to have a pleasant experience, and this is turning out to be very unpleasant, this interview. As she talks down to this reporter, I am not going to deal with 7 follow-up questions. What do you want the journalist to do? What is the journalist to do? Horrible lighting, by the way, in this CBS interview. It absolutely makes Katie Porter look demonic. But her behavior doesn't do her any favors. And this went on and on. This implosion went on and on as she's threatening to walk off the interview.
Ms. And Porter, we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want this on camera. You're on camera.
Sorry.
I can relate to her.
It's on camera.
I get it.
You can relate to her, tinfoil?
Yeah, embarrassing. You know, somebody follows up, asks a bunch of questions to what you're trying to set up. You know,
answering questions
so hard.
As a candidate, what are you doing?
You are the Katie Porter of Will Cain country. You feel like everybody is just making this a very unhappy experience for you every time you appear on camera, and you're not going to deal with these 7 follow-ups. And by God, I'm the producer of this show. I am the producer of Will Cain country. I am a leader. And I'm just not going to do this. I'm me. And You are the Katie Porter of Will Cain country. Wow. And you have a similar track record, because this isn't the first time we've seen this kind of thing from Katie Porter. People are pointing out now, this is actually par for the course. This is actually her personality. This is actually her style of leadership. Katie Porter was on Pod Save America. The Obama bros asked about rumors and reports that the workplace under Porter is toxic. Everybody working for her with massive turnover, I believe like 65% turnover, walks away going, whew, I don't want to work with that woman. I don't want to work with Katie Porter. Here she is on Pod Save America.
But there's been a bunch of stories over the last few weeks based on mostly anonymous accounts from former staffers that you're also tough on the people who work for you. I've been wondering, what's your reaction to all those stories?
Well, I'm really proud of my staff. They're incredible. And I could not do the work I do in the way that I do it without their talents, without their time, without their commitment to doing their best. But let's be clear, of course I want their best effort. Of course I want my best effort. The American people deserve no less.
Sitting there, appearing on Pod Save America with the sign behind her that repeats "No BS" several times. This woman is a gem.
It's ironic.
This woman is the leading candidate.
This is back in 2023, by the way. So this has been going on a long time that she's been this way.
And she is the leading candidate for governor of California. There are also reports, ugly reports, about her divorce settlement and things she might have done while going through this marriage with her husband. I'm going to read this with you now. This is excerpts from the divorce settlement of Katie Porter and her husband. On Thanksgiving 2011, Hoffman, her former husband, said Porter came in as he made Jell-O with the kids and said, "Are you so effing stupid you can't make Jell-O? How effing dumb are you?" He said she kept calling him useless. And then on November 29th of 2011, petitioner screamed at our middle child, Paul. That day was the day it was decided she would have a C-section to deliver our daughter, Elizabeth. Paul was about 2.5 years old at the time. He was very excited to have a baby sister and was talking to petitioner about it. She became angry and then stood over Paul and screamed at him, "Get out of my face and leave me alone." Paul immediately started crying hysterically because he's 2.5. Oh, no. She was towering over him and so angry, I thought she was going to hurt him. I rushed in to stop it and he yelled at me, or she yelled at me, "Why can't you keep them away from me?" Petitioner then struck me in the face. Wow. And then in spring of 2006, this is her ex-husband saying, "I made mashed potatoes for dinner. Our oldest child, Luke, was sitting next to me in the high chair as I was getting ready for dinner. Petitioner, Porter, looked at the potatoes in the ceramic bowl and yelled at me, 'Can't you read the effing instructions?' She then took the ceramic bowl of steaming hot potatoes and dumped it on my head, burning my scalp. I am concerned for my safety and safety of our children. Petitioner's behavior has only gotten more unpredictable and unstable, and the outburst of abuse and anger have increased. Now she is resorting to making false allegations against me." Oh,
not the mashed potatoes.
God.
I like mashed potatoes too.
This woman, that reporter for CBS is lucky she didn't get any mashed potatoes. This woman is your leading candidate.
It's a starchy situation.
Again, for governor of California. And then this hasn't all been behind the scenes. This all hasn't been on excerpts of interviews that she wants to walk off of. She's also showed some of this same behavior when she's appeared in other places, like with Bill Maher, Piers Morgan, and Riley Gaines.
What do you disagree with, out of interest?
I think that it should be up to sporting bodies to make the decisions about who and how should compete.
What has she said that's actually wrong?
I think that what she has done is try to turn this. We talked about people, using things to kind of get likes and get clicks.
That's not what she's doing.
It's not?
I've got no truck for Riley Gaines personally, but all I've seen her do is stand up for women's rights to fairness and equality.
But
she actually competed against Leah Thomas, and it was obviously unfair.
There she is going after Riley Gaines, Katie Porter, on Bill Maher. And then finally, this is how she reacted. I assume this is the child or one of the children that she yelled at and said, "Keep these children away from me." Apparently that wasn't as upsetting to her children, according to Porter, as the election of Donald Trump.
So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And she said, Mom, Trump won. Trump's going to win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion? This is from a 12-year-old, my 12-year-old daughter. And so it was really a reminder of how scary this time is for people, and how important it is for Democrats to have strategies, both at the state level and the federal level, to make sure that we can continue to protect people's rights.
Well, water polo is a tough sport. Let's just be clear. That she was correct. Water polo is a rough sport.
Is it, though?
She's right about that. I'm going to give that to Katie Porter.
She's probably scored a few goals
in
water polo.
Katie Porter? Or her daughter?
No, her daughter.
Did Katie Porter play water polo?
I don't think Katie Porter did.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how many goals did you have?
She probably scored more goals than me, tinfoil. She's probably scored more goals in her career than I have in water polo. But I haven't also been poisoned in my brain by my mom teaching me that my whole life is descending into the Handmaid's Tale, and that what am I going to do if I get raped and I'm not able to have an abortion? This woman is literally the embodiment of everything that is wrong with America. This is the hysterical white woman who has either fallen into or preached to other white women that the world is descending into a totalitarian dystopia under Donald Trump. And the problem isn't that she's this insane suburban white woman taking her children to water polo practice. The problem isn't even that she's poisoning their brains and making them think that this is reality. The problem is that she's running for governor of California. And this person, who is a dime a dozen right there, out there in America, this person, although with a few more clear personality issues and abilities to relate to other human beings, shares much of the same mindset of a large percentage of women out there in America. Which is one thing, but it's another if you are now prepared to elect this person the governor of California. It's the easiest prediction to make. It's the easiest bet to lay down. If California elects Katie Porter as governor, you will see not only the continued exodus of Californians out of the Golden State, they will continue to move to Texas, they will continue to move to Tennessee, they will continue to move to Montana, but you will see a absolute clown show of dysfunction in Sacramento. And I realize that's like saying, what is the 12th clown in an 11-clown Barnum and Bailey circus? But this time, you are talking about an undeniable, untalented politician being put at the top of state leadership. You're going to see dysfunction. You're going to see staff churn and turnover. You're going to see Democrat senators and representatives in Sacramento fleeing for the doors, fleeing for the circus tents. This is what you want in California? I guess go get it. We're about to see a state vacant. We're about to see a state look like an abandoned house in the middle of a neighborhood. The neighborhood is the United States. The grass is going to be running tall. The furniture's in the lawn. There's maybe somebody living in there, but you're not quite sure if it's a crack house or it's abandoned. This is the easiest bet there is. You elect Katie Porter, that's your future. California. Jon Stewart has joined the chorus in demonizing ICE. Joy Behar says there won't be elections because of the National Guard. And we break it down with Oklahoma Sooner Jeffery Mead coming up on Will Cain Country. Number one hustler says over on YouTube, out there in the Willisha, Katie Porter also attacked a server at El Pollo Loco in Irvine. Stories go on and on. And I don't know if that's true. I don't know the veracity of that comment. But if it is true, you're not even safe in California at an El Pollo Loco from the governor. It is Will Cain Country, streaming live at the Will Cain Country YouTube channel. Always available by following us on Spotify or on Apple. We enjoy you hanging out. Jump into those comments section. We'd love to make you a part of the show. Jeffrey Mead is a social and political commentator on X, on Instagram, on TikTok. He's very popular. He's very popular with us here as well at Will Cain Country, despite the fact that he is an Oklahoma Sooner. What's up, Jeffrey?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good right now. I won't know if I'll be good Saturday afternoon, but we'll talk
Wait, you're
about
good
that in
with
just a moment.
two
We'll get
losses? You're good with two losses?
It's the middle of the week, Jeffrey. It's not Saturday afternoon last Saturday. It's not Sunday. It's not Saturday afternoon this coming week. It's not right after the Florida game, and it's not right after the Sooner game. It's Wednesday, Jeffrey. So this is a little nice, peaceful period in the middle of my week where I don't deal with what's happened or what will happen. I'm dealing with you on a different level right now, Jeffrey.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm pleasure to be here. I'm glad to see you.
I'm glad we turned the corner here for the next couple of minutes before we get to the Red River shootout. Jeffrey Mead is a very, very popular social and political commentator. I love walking through some of the issues with him. It's really stunning, Jeffrey, how much we have seen the narrative forwarded from basically every mainstream media outlet and echoed as well by comedians that what we're dealing with in America is a state-sponsored kidnapping force in ICE. Yesterday, we heard from John Oliver, who basically used those exact same words. Jon Stewart now saying much of the same thing. Listen to Jon Stewart.
ICE went from deporting the worst of the worst to throwing grandmothers onto linoleum and zip-tying American children. And everyone's just supposed to be cool with the new masked, incredibly well-funded paramilitary group. And Democrats are just reduced to petty gestures of restroom resistance.
So there's the characterization of ICE from Jon Stewart. First, what do you make of all of these guys like John Oliver and Jon Stewart?
You know, I think they'll do anything they can but describe the reality of what's happening. We've got federal agents who are enforcing laws that were put in place by democratically elected officials, to keep it very simple. So ICE is enforcing our immigration laws, our border laws. And for whatever reason, they want to do anything they can to demonize them and misrepresent the situation or misrepresent the facts about what are actually happening. And they work to get people morally outraged about the situation. So you'll see people talk about ICE is using chemical agents when they're using tear gas, right? Why are you saying chemical agents instead of tear gas? It's to it's to evoke people thinking, wartime mustard gas. They're doing something terrible to these innocent civilians, is what they want people to think, right? So a lot of it's about emotional manipulation.
It is, and I think in a similar way, the image that's painted is that this state-sponsored kidnapping force is a bunch of white guys rounding up brown people, fathers, roofers, and absconding with them off to El Salvador. First of all, I've met a lot of ICE agents. I know the head of ICE. The head of ICE, by the way, the acting head of ICE, is Latino, and almost every officer that I've had come in here to Will Cain Country, the Will Cain Show, they're Latino. They are legal Americans, and they are enforcing the laws of America. And that's very clearly how they see it. And it's popular with Americans. We just saw a Gallup poll that showed that 78% of Americans agree with the premise of deporting illegal immigrants who have a criminal history. And 56% support deporting illegal immigrants, period. Meaning that's your only crime. You came here illegally, of course, which it is a crime. And it's not always an easy story, Jeffrey. You live in Oklahoma, I live in Texas, and, illegal immigration is a part of our lives. We probably know illegal immigrants, and some of them are great people. But that doesn't change the fact that you have broken the law and you are in a country illegally, and you have run the risk of having that law enforced. And I don't know why that is the fault or the problem of the law enforcement officer enforcing the law. If you don't like it, change the law. If you want no borders, change the law. If you want to allow illegal immigration, change the law. See if America agrees with what you want to happen when it comes to borders.
Yeah, I would 100% agree, because it's funny, the same side that calls, they call these guys enforcing the law fascist. They call everyone on the right fascist, when in reality, they're fighting the exact laws that were voted into place by democratically elected officials. So many things they do are backwards, and it's more, if you pay attention to them, a lot of them base what they do off of how they feel. They're not practical. They don't really care about reality. They say, does this make me feel good? If it makes me feel good, I'm going to go for it. If it doesn't, I'm not. So the fact that these guys are taking people out of our country who we think have a right to be here, even though they don't, that doesn't make us feel good. So we're going to call them Nazis and fascists, and we're going to go complain and whine and emotionally manipulate people into hating the guys who are keeping our country safe.
That would be a great question to ask a Democrat politician. I would love to have one on the Will Cain Show. Are you proposing that we do not enforce the law? It's not debatable that this is the law on the book, that you have to immigrate to this country legally. So you're upset with ICE and the Trump administration for enforcing existing laws, to your point, by the way, that has been voted on to include Democrat politicians. Is your official position ignore the law, break the law?
Yeah, I think it would be a great question. They're going to sidestep and say, no, well, we need to have, but I think a lot of them won't. Actually, the more I think about it, I think that would be a great question. I think some of them would get tongue-tied when you ask them that. So maybe you should do that. Try to invite someone and see what they say. I'd be curious to see it.
I will do that. My suspicion is they'll start talking about due process. Of course, we have due process. We are using due process. But, okay, let's say every due process law, every due process requirement were fulfilled, then you're okay with ICE doing exactly what they're doing right now? And I think they would be real remiss to say yes, because you've made the point. They're not doing this according to law. They're doing this according to feeling. And the feeling is in service of the larger story that Donald Trump is an authoritarian and we have now reached the end of the American democracy. That's what we heard Joy Behar basically say is the purpose of the National Guard deployment to cities like Portland or Chicago. Here's the view.
In all of their minds, they now believe they have carte blanche to do whatever they want to.
That's right, yes.
That's what the feeling is.
And if they stop us from voting, that's the one thing people have.
Well, I mean, it's the one thing that makes us very different from lots of other countries.
They really, I don't know. Do you think, Jeffrey, do you think they believe it? Do they believe this idea that we're done? There won't be an election in 2028?
I don't know, because they're crazy enough to where I think they could believe it, but I also think they're manipulative enough to where they would just push it. So I really don't know. I really don't know. I think it could be either one.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's like, I just had this conversation. I will soon be appearing on the Stage Steel show. And we were talking about our time at ESPN. You may find this interesting, Jeffrey. We were talking about Skip Bayless, the former host of First Take, along with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN, and the accusation that he doesn't believe the things that he says. And Sage was testifying to the fact that he does believe exactly what he says. He does believe what he says about LeBron or the Cowboys. But it is interesting what you can make yourself believe. Meaning, I think belief is a subjective thing. Like, is somebody being sincere? Well, someone can make themselves believe anything that they want, and they can be sincere in saying what they're saying, but it's almost like you reverse engineered your belief. Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar, it's probably indistinguishable at this point, whether or not they truly believe that we are done in America and we're now arrived at Nazi Germany, or they've said it enough and wanted to believe it enough that now they are somewhat sincere.
I think that's a good way to put it. I could see that. And they talk about the military being deployed, or the National Guard being deployed in, Chicago and Portland. And what's crazy about that is the local authorities there are not helping the federal agents there. So they're saying, hey, if you come here and you need help, we're not going to help you. But then the moment you bring in some National Guard forces to help protect your guys and keep them safe, we're going to call you a fascist and say this is authoritarianism. Even though we're supposed to help you with enforcing the laws, we're not going to do our job. And then we're going to call you a fascist for making sure that your people are protected. It's manipulative.
It seems to be working on a large percentage of the population. They've allowed themselves to be manipulated into this dystopian vision of America. And then you get to reality. So here is the reality, to state the obvious. We live in a culture now where a couple of weeks ago, Charlie Kirk was murdered. We live in a culture where just a few weeks ago, ICE agents were attacked in Dallas, Texas, detainees inadvertently killed by a sniper. We live in a culture where right now, the story that is somewhat flying under the radar is a crazy man was prepared to attack with bombs a Catholic church in Washington, D.C., regularly attended by Supreme Court justices. His motivation seems to have already been made clear by the evidence. He hated Catholics. He hated Jews. He hated ICE. He hated the Supreme Court. And amidst all that, Eric Holder, former Attorney General under President Barack Obama, is suggesting that we should pack the Supreme Court. Here is Eric Holder.
Do you think in 2028 reform of the Supreme Court should be a part of the platform for the Democratic Party?
Absolutely. I think the Supreme Court has to be reformed, potentially, expanded. We cannot simply allow this court to continue to do that which it has done. They don't focus on precedent. They focus on personnel. And by that, I mean, they think, all right, we've got 6 votes and we can now do things that are inconsistent with precedent, long-term precedents that have been put in place to the detriment of our democracy.
That's a pretty stunning statement for anybody that's not really, really interested in the Supreme Court or the law, to talk about packing the Supreme Court. That means, and he has to presume there's a Democrat president or a Democrat Congress to get this through, both, expanding it from 9 justices to, say, 15. And then you could pack it with 6, living constitutionalist, far-left justices. And it's a really radical position that he delivers there in really, calm and C-SPAN tones. But that's another institution. And I mean, I sit here and I go, there's not a single institution safe from the advancement of their political agenda. And this is incredibly radical to hear from Eric Holder.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it is quite radical. And what he's basically saying is, hey, we need to pack the court until we get people that we like in the court. That's essentially what he's saying. And with that, you're opening Pandora's box. So what's to stop when Republicans get back control? Let's say Democrats did get control. When Republicans get back control, who's to say, okay, well, now that we're in control, we're going to add 7 more. And then who's to say Democrats aren't going to do that when they get back in control? Like, you're literally opening something that could turn out to be very bad. So I think it is radical. And I think it's simply because they're losing. If they had what they wanted in the court, they wouldn't want to expand it. But since they don't have what they want in the court, they want to change the rules, expand the court, and then shove a bunch of judges in there that they think will align with what they want.
FDR tried to do this in the 1930s. He was shut down. He wanted to do it in the 1930s because he wasn't getting his New Deal legislation through the Supreme Court of the United States. It wasn't passing constitutional muster. And that's the question for the Supreme Court. It's always, is whatever law I'm analyzing constitutional? Precedent, you heard Eric Holder talk about precedent. Precedent informs the interpretation of the Constitution. That means relying on prior decisions that came before you. But precedent can also be wrong. We can have a series of jurisprudence and cases, and therefore case law, based upon flawed and bad premises, bad precedent. And, we should go over that sometime here on the show. We could talk about really, really big decisions in the Supreme Court's past that set us on the path of bad precedent. Not for nothing, but I'm sitting here talking to you, Jeffrey, but there was a time when the Supreme Court of the United States decided in Dred Scott that a black person was not a human being, not a citizen of the United States, not a full right person. You don't just listen to the Supreme Court on that decision because now it's precedent. You overturn it when it's wrong. So precedent is about deference. That means I should listen to what they said, I should consider it, and I should use it heavily. But it isn't the Bible. It isn't the Constitution. You go back to your interpretation of the Constitution.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. And he's saying that because things that his side has liked or currently do like have been overturned, right? So, hey, you're not abiding by the stuff that was in place that we liked, so you're unconstitutional now. Well, not necessarily. The court will decide that. But again, it comes back to, hey, if we can't win by these rules, let's change the rules.
1 to 10 scale, you feel how confident in OU over Texas in the Red River Shootout?
7.5 to 8. 7.5.
7.5 to 8. That was a long pause of contemplation to come out so confident. Like, I thought that level of contemplation would result in like a 6, but he came back at 7.5 and 8 after that long moment of contemplation. I hear your quarterback's going to be back. For anybody that doesn't know, Jeffrey played football at OU, wide receiver. He's 7'2". He bench presses 455 pounds. We learned that in the last episode of Will Cain Country. And I think your quarterback is back, which is bad news for the Horns.
Yeah, it would definitely be bad news. I think we could beat Texas without him. But I definitely think, yeah, that's going to cause significantly more headaches for you guys. And I'm glad to see it. We love to see it.
what are I understand you're going to be on Will Cain Country next week, which we're excited to have you in person. So I've been told you're coming down after the game, so you won't be there at the Cotton Bowl.
No, unfortunately not.
Okay.
Why?
And your expert football experience and analysis, what's wrong with Arch?
I haven't watched him enough to pay attention, so take this with a grain of salt. Like I haven't watched him enough to have an informed opinion. Okay. I don't think he has a very strong arm from what I've seen. In my opinion. In addition to that, I don't know. I would say three things: arm strength, accuracy, and then footwork. I don't think his feet move as well as I would like to see an athletic quarterback's feet move, essentially. So a little slower than I would like. I think he's missed open targets. Again, I haven't watched all the games, just from things I've seen. And I think his arm is a little weak. Again, that's just my opinion.
Well, for the first time today, I do disagree with Jeffrey. It's not that I think that Arch is right. I think his feet are off. He's got good feet. You can get him run like that, but whatever happy feet he's got in the pocket, it's not good. I don't know why he throws the ball so hard. I think he hums it in there, Jeffrey. Like, as a receiver, yeah, I mean, in theory, I think there should never be a ball thrown too hard for you to catch it, right? But you could take a little mustard off of it to make it a more catchable ball. And sometimes I see him throw like a 5-yard pass. Like,
so he doesn't have
hums
touch,
it at
is what
him.
you're saying.
Like, yeah, that's right. Doesn't seem to have touch. But if he can set his feet right, that everything's built from the ground up, right? If you can set your feet right, you have a little more touch, a little more accuracy, and so forth. But he just can't get comfortable. He just can't find it. Can't find himself.
Have you watched
in the
all
pocket?
The games?
And there's a lot of pressure. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Offensive line is bad.
Is the offensive line any good?
Yeah, it should be. It's like Oklahoma or Georgia or Alabama. I mean, they're all 5 stars, right? I mean, should be, but and a lot of them, by the way, have actually played. They played last year, but no, they have not been good. Florida absolutely was all over Arch within seconds, and Oklahoma will be. You've got a great defense at Oklahoma.
Yeah, the defensive line is scary. The line is scary.
Real quick, before you go, what's it like? Is the Cotton Bowl, like, we always talk about the toughest places to play. We talk about Kyle Field. We talk about Death Valley. Last weekend, everybody was reemphasizing how difficult it is to actually go into the swamp. But Texas OU is such a unique thing because it's in Dallas. It's on a neutral site. It's in the middle of the state fair. It's at the old building that is the Cotton Bowl. It's half crimson and cream, half burnt orange. It's exciting. There's a lot of energy in the stadium. Like, how would you describe that? It's clearly different than your home games in Norman or going on the road. But what does it feel like? Does it all make it really difficult to perform on that Saturday in October?
Does it make it difficult to perform? No, it's exciting. I would say you get a little bit more nerves. I would say one of the only clear drops I've had have actually been in that game. It was one drop, and Baker threw a missile, and it went right through my hands. Probably like a 15-yard curl. I come back, it just rips right through my hands. But no, it's not that different. I mean, you have people talking crap to you, like because half of half the field is burnt orange, half of it's crimson and cream. So sometimes on the sidelines, when you cross a certain point, people are talking trash to you, right? Just because that's how it is. Right. But no, I don't think it really.
That's pretty interesting. People that are listening that don't understand, it's on the 50-yard line. So it splits at the 50. So, yeah, you're on your sidelines. One half of it, you're probably pretty friendly. You cross the other half, and all of a sudden you start getting heckled and hearing it.
Yeah, that happens. So that's interesting. But one of the, but it's not that difficult to play. It's not that the hardest place I've played that I could think of off the top of my head would be in Tennessee. It is loud.
Really?
There. Yeah, it's very loud there. One time, I think either Baker fumbled or threw a pick. I don't remember which one it was. Something happened, and it was so loud, my ears were ringing for a second. And I was like, okay, this is different. Like, this is different. So it's harder to play it. The Cotton Bowl is not that. Yeah, it's not that hard to play at.
Huh. Well, I still don't know if I'm going. I'm so not going. So what? Okay, so you're 7.5 on the way out. Give me your game prediction. Go ahead. Give me the score for Texas OU, which you call OU Texas, and I never will. It's Texas OU.
Golly, this is tough because I don't watch a lot of sports. I have watched OU this year. What I would say, if I had to guess, give me 10 more seconds.
10 more seconds. That's a long time in TV.
28-14.
28-14. It's actually, I was going to say it's a blowout, but there have been much worse for Texas. And by the way, other way around too. There have been some blowouts in Texas OU game.
Yes.
That wouldn't be the most exciting score. That wouldn't be a game that comes down to the wire, but it might be right. And Jeffrey's going to be with us right here on set next week. We're just going to see exactly how tall he is come next week. And one of us is going to have bragging rights after Texas OU. All right, Jeffrey Mead, great to see you, man. Thanks for being with us. We'll check you out next time.
All right, sounds good. See you soon.
All right, check him out at X, IG, and TikTok. All right, by the way, over in the Willisha, Dan Cain, John Oliver, and Jon Stewart have the worst shows on TV. Stewart's style of comedy, if you can call it that, is just a yell and scream. So hard to watch, can't stand either of those clowns. Evelyn Eber says, wow, whoopee. It was okay when a Democrat said it, but now since Republicans are trying to fix it, it's not okay. Shame on you, whoopee, which he spells with 2 E's. Lisa Wohl says, starchy situation is hilarious. That's about the mashed potatoes being dumped on to Katie Porter's husband. The Kilted Geek says, California Democrats, please make this twit your candidate. Here's the thing, Kilted Geek. If she is the Democrat candidate for governor, do you doubt that she'd win the general election for governor? Kimberly Cole League says, what a nut job, the female version of Gavin Newsom. How about this? Less talented and worse than Gavin Newsom. And For All Ages says, personality issues. Yep. We'll keep bringing your comments on Katie Porter into Will Cain Country, but next we've got Representative Riley Moore joining us and Jerry Jones, Zach Bryan, final takes. The Katie Porter of Will Cain Country, Tinfoil Pat, takes over the program for an episode of Final Takes. Coming up here in just a moment, so don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss the most electric man in broadcasting. It is Will Cain Country at the Will Cain Country YouTube channel. We hope you will go ahead and subscribe. That way you can hang out with us every day. Like Betty Wheaton, who says over on YouTube, I anxiously await for you every day. Love your program. Thank you. Love you, Betty. By the way, if you miss it, because you're just busy that day, your schedule doesn't line up, you can't be with us live at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, follow us on Spotify or Apple and never miss an episode of Will Cain Country. Congressman Riley Moore is a Republican from West Virginia's 2nd Congressional District, and he joins us now in the country. What's up, Congressman?
Hey, Will, what's going on, man?
So yesterday we had this debate. I was joined by foxnews.com columnist David Marcus, who lives in West Virginia, which he describes as basically Pennsylvania. And he was telling me that his neighbors don't have accents. And I said, what about Nick Saban? And then we had this entire conversation about whether or not you're in the South. So is West Virginia the South?
You know, I think many of us would identify as being Southerners. I do agree with that. Usually when they do the census, we're put into the southern states. Now, it depends what part of the state, though, too. If you're in the northern panhandle of West Virginia, which Weirton, West Virginia is 30 minutes outside of Pittsburgh, they probably don't so much identify as Southerners. But you got to remember, part of the state borders Kentucky and Virginia and all that, and very much so, I think that they do identify as Southerners. So it just kind of depends where you are. And I know David Marcus very well. He and I actually attend the same parish. I see him in Mass. I don't think anybody's confusing his accent with a Southern accent. So,
or his haircut, or his haircut.
Yeah, or his haircut. No, he's great. He's a great.
Congressman,
if
I drive south into, say, Kentucky from West Virginia, right? You got a weird shaped state with weird borders. So south could get me to, I believe, Virginia or Kentucky. If I drive northish to Pittsburgh, I'm a West Virginian. Where culturally am I more at home? Am I more at home in Kentucky or am I more at home in Pittsburgh?
Probably more at home in Kentucky, I'd imagine. So it's in Kentucky is west of us as well, and also south. The Ohio River, they're obviously kind of separating us from Kentucky. But, and then we get separated up north from Ohio by the Ohio River also. But yeah, look, I think most of us would probably identify that way. And look, you talked about Sabin. He's from Clarksburg. Jimbo Fisher's from Clarksburg. Probably notable historical figure from Clarksburg, West Virginia is Stonewall Jackson. So that's one of my constituents historically. So
doesn't get much more Southern. Doesn't get much more Southern. Okay, one more question before we get to some of the stuff you're working on in Congress. And I don't know this, and they're a little bit, fish out of water in the Big 12. Who is West Virginia's, the Mountaineers, biggest historical rival? Like, when you gear up for a game, what is that? Is that Virginia Tech? Like, who's the big rival for West Virginia?
Actually, Pitt is our big rival. Pitt is our biggest rival. University of Pittsburgh, Pitt is our biggest rival. And Morgantown, West Virginia is about an hour from Pitt. And that's always been historically our biggest rival. Go back to the Big East Conference, right, where you had Virginia Tech, Pitt, which was a great conference, by the way. Unfortunately, fell apart. Great basketball conference as well. But that has always historically been our rival. Now, as a member of the Big 12, that had changed for a little while. But we brought back, the backyard brawl. WVU Mountaineers, West Virginia Mountaineers. We just won the backyard brawl. It was in Morgantown. I was there. Overtime. Great game. I wish I could say that for the rest of the season. It's not going so great. It's not been going so great. And I take it you're probably a Longhorns fan. Is that right?
I'm a Longhorns fan. Yeah.
But so you're over in the SEC
Your most
now.
famous. Yeah. And we all love your most, I don't know if he's your most famous Mountaineer, but he's up there, Pat McAfee.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys can punt the ball at West Virginia. You can punt the hell out of that ball at West Virginia.
Hey, easy now. Listen,
all right, Congressman.
We were consistently a top 25 team for decades. We're in a building year. I've been saying that for a few years. But this is a building year for the West Virginia Mountaineers. We are going to get back into that top 25. Now, look, the Longhorns are do or die here against Oklahoma, just to be clear.
I know, and I'm nervous. This is not a game you want to go into, do or die. So we might be dead. All right, let's talk about what you're working on in Congress. You've got a new bill you want to put together that you're designing that is going to honor the guys who have worked and are working on the southern border.
Yes, I do. And Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, has made an announcement about this. I introduced legislation a little while back, a border medal, which actually existed, dates back to 1918 when we had a border mission. The U.S. military was down there on the border doing somewhat similar activity that's happening right now. If you might flash back to, that was during the Pancho Villa incursions and that little revolution that was going on down there. But in any event, the 1918 border medal is going to look the new border medal is going to look exactly like that 1918 medal that we're going to bring back. So these folks can actually earn a ribbon here for the great work that they've been doing securing our border. And Secretary Hegseth agrees with that. He has rolled out a version of that. You can see online what it's going to look like. Beautiful medal. And I think it just makes all the sense in the world for us to honor our military and the service that they're providing in terms of securing our border and our communities and our country. And this is the best way, I think, to be able to demonstrate that is with this campaign ribbon here, which I think makes a lot of sense.
I don't want to push you out over your skis, but you seem to know a little bit of the history. I'm just curious, like that medal that existed, that honor that existed before, what kind of guys got it for what kind of service at the border?
Well, it was the same type of thing. it was a border mission, but slightly different. So Pancho Villa had this kind of counter or insurgency kind of operation that was going on, but he was going over and doing raids into the United States, into Texas and places like that. So we sent our military down there to secure the border and ensure that these folks weren't coming over and harming our own citizens during that time period of Pancho Villa and everybody else. But 1918 is when that border medal first came into existence. So Secretary Hegseth has brought that back. It was U.S. Army that was down there, and that's who's going to be the recipient of this medal as well. I had the great pleasure of going to Arizona and meeting the 10th Mountain Infantry Division that was there securing that part of the border, Nogales. And it was amazing. The crossings, you saw nobody. There was nobody down there. The crossings literally at zero, except for the really, really bad guys that had to come into the U.S. and try to sell drugs, who are speeding through the border at 100 miles per hour, which guess what? They got caught. And makes everybody's life a lot easier in terms of enforcement when it's not just outright mass chaos at our southern border and masses of humanity coming across illegally.
I want to dive into that history a little more. Just off the top of my head, I believe those American forces that pursued Pancho Villa did so into Mexico. They did all. I think they chased him. That's right. They pursued him all the way into Mexico. I love that history. I'd love to know a little more. As you see it right now, and I'm sure this would be up to the Secretary of War, I assume, what kind of actions these guys are deployed? Is it for the National Guard? Is it for Border Patrol as well? What in your mind, what kind of actions would deserve this new award?
Well, as you know, any type of dedicated mission, whether it was folks serving in Iraq, serving in Afghanistan, I mean, this is a mission to secure this border. So anyone who served as part of this campaign, which this is a campaign medal, anybody who's involved in that is going to be eligible to receive this campaign medal. Just like if you go and do some mission overseas, you're going to receive a campaign medal for this as well.
You know, it's interesting. Here we are talking about honoring these guys, and we are doing so, you're doing so, at a time when these guys are vilified. Now, National Guard's vilified for being deployed to American cities. ICE is vilified for enforcing the laws that you guys and your predecessors and in both parties have passed. And, you know, I'll say it's probably better than it was 4 or 5 years ago when we had a president of the United States accusing Border Patrol of what? Looking like Southern plantation owners whipping Haitian migrants, which I think is pure defamation. And I've been curious if those Border Patrol agents would pursue defamation. They should, because it was totally false. But, you know, you're doing this at a time where outside of that, these guys are being vilified, not honored.
No, that's exactly right. They are being vilified. But I'll tell you what, I go anywhere in my district, anywhere throughout the whole great state of West Virginia, and people are so happy that they are there. I mean, when I was on the border of Arizona and Mexico, West Virginia National Guardsmen were serving as part of that mission. And we're very proud to have them down there. There are also West Virginia National Guardsmen, by the way, that were serving in Washington, D.C., helped secure this city here. People want order in this country. They want order, and they want the laws to be followed. This is not complicated. So certainly our service members are being vilified for executing what is really a critical mission for whether it's the National Guard in our great cities that the president is going to make great and safe again, or securing our border so we're not just being treated as some economic free trade zone where anybody in the world can just come over and work and get all the great benefits of the United States without actually being a citizen and breaking the law. Or you've come here to break the law, which we've seen happen over and over and over again. There's a lot of dangerous people that have come over this border. But I think this is why giving them, making sure they get a campaign ribbon for actually reclaiming the sovereignty of the United States. Obviously, sovereignty defined by defensible borders. It's one of the definitions of sovereignty. It's such a big deal, and it's actually going to help change this country for the better, because on the one side, you got the borders getting controlled. We got President Trump, USTR, and everybody else working out there, Pete Navarro and everybody, to rebalance trade. Now, if you rebalance trade without securing the border, where you have just a free flow of very, very low wage, low skilled people coming into the country that depresses wages in this country, then reframing the trade issue, it hurts all of that. It actually doesn't make a difference. You can't reshore and give people in America great jobs again without controlling our own border. I mean, that's part of it. Obviously, there's the violence and everything else that goes into this, but the totality of the administration's effort to put the American people first is all of those things packaged together. And our great military service members are part of that, and they should be very proud to be part of that.
Oh, I totally agree, by the way. The focus on criminals is important, but I mean, illegal immigration in and of itself is a crime, and it has a detrimental effect on the host nation. And we've seen that play out in Europe. And so we've seen it play out here at home. So I think there needs to be a bigger conversation about illegal immigration at large, not just the criminals. And by the way, for that matter, I'm ready to have a conversation as well about legal immigration at large. We need to talk about the concept of assimilation and what's the right quotient for a country to welcome in people from the rest of the world and what values they share. While I have you here, Congressman, I'll share a little bit of behind the scenes with you and the audience.
Well, can I say something on that point just
this
real
morning.
quick, Will? Can I say something just on that point real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Of
course, yeah.
I have a real issue with the H-1B visa program. And this is a real problem in this country because we're sending a lot of it's not just the blue-collar jobs, it's also the white-collar jobs that are affected by H-1B visas. We send our kids off to college telling them to go be an accountant, go be, any of these types of jobs that are so important to the economy, and then turn around and these companies go apply for H-1B visa and bring somebody in from India or wherever it is in the world and undercuts our young people that we're trying to put into the workforce. So I did put language into the appropriations bill requiring the Department of Labor to report how H-1B visas are negatively affecting workers here in the United States, which I think is a very big deal. That is legal, but it is a conversation that we need to have because it is hurting blue-collar and white-collar jobs in this country.
Yeah, and the fabric of the country in terms of cultural assimilation, shared values, ensuring that people that come to the United States buy into the experiment that is the United States. Mm-hmm. So this morning, I had a conversation with one of my producers, and we look at ratings. We're doing really well, very well. But we look at ratings, and I can look at them. I can look at them segment by segment. I can look at them minute by minute, and you got to take them with a grain of salt. But one of the revelations that was shared with me is, you know what's rating really well? Is conversation about government shutdown. And that was a little bit of a surprise to me because, in a way, it's a little bit like inside baseball, it's par for the course, politics, dysfunction, and it just feels like episode 12 of The Fast and the Furious, although much less entertaining. And but the public clearly is very focused and very interested in this government shutdown. And I put that to you to ask you, what are you hearing from your constituents, and what is the prospect here to get the government back up and running?
Well, first, let's start with my constituents. They want me and everybody else in the Republican conference to hold tight, no concessions. We don't want that, and I don't want that. We've got to hold the line on this. We passed a continuing resolution here in the House, the short-term stopgap funding measure, so we could finish the appropriations bills in that process. I'm on the Appropriations Committee. We've passed all 12 bills out of committee. We passed 3 on the floor. We made a motion to go to conference, which the good news is a semblance of regular order is coming back to the House of Representatives and hopefully Congress collectively. That's the good news. When's the last time somebody has uttered the word conference on the House floor as it relates to appropriations? It's been a long time. We've always talked about omnibuses and things like that. So we're doing the right thing over on our end. And by the way, that resolution, that continuing resolution, that passed bipartisan. There was a Democrat that voted for that. Over on the Senate side, they've just got to adopt this. The Democrats have to do the right thing. And my constituents and my folks, in my personal opinion, we're not opening it back up. We're not making concessions. They need to, the time for negotiation is after we pass the CR. We're not going to negotiate on giving illegal immigrants free health care. That's what we're talking about. And every time somebody says, that's not true, you can go to the speaker's website, speaker.gov, urge everybody to go there, page 57, section 2141, read it for yourself. It takes away that verification process that we had in the one big beautiful bill that opens up health care for all illegal immigrants. There are 11 states in this country that were given Medicaid to illegal immigrants, and this put a stop to it, and the Democrats want to repeal that. Oh, and by the way, there's one cut in the Democrat CR that they want, and that is to the Rural Hospital Stabilization Fund, which hurts southern states like mine, we are a southern state, and Midwestern states and a lot of other rural states throughout this country. We have to have that. That's super important for us. But so essentially, the Democrats are going to take health care away from hardworking Americans like people in my state of West Virginia and give it to people who shouldn't even be here in the first place. That's kind of the mindset here. So no concessions. We're not going to, at least in my world, we're not agreeing to any of this. I think we have to hold the line. Let's hold fast on all of this. And I did look, there's a couple pressurizing events that are coming up here. Our troops need to get paid again on October 15th. We'll see if they want to keep the government shut down and not pay our troops. That is on the Democrats. It is solely on the Democrats. Republicans are voting for this. And by the way, 2 Democrats and an independent in the Senate have voted for this continuing resolution, also bipartisan support. We just haven't gotten to the 60 vote threshold to be able to move forward on it. So there's bipartisan support to open the government. Chuck Schumer just needs to actually grow a pair and act like a leader over there and not somebody who is just scared to death of a primary challenge from AOC in 2028. If he can't lead, he should step aside and let somebody else do it.
Congressman Riley Moore, we'll be watching that date, October 15th. We appreciate you joining us today. It's been good to have you here on Will Cain Country.
Hey, Will, thanks so much for having me.
All right, take care. All right, before we go today, let's check in with the Willisha. Michael D223 says, psychos raising psychos, talking about Katie Porter and how she has poisoned the brain of her child. Number one hustler, Blackthorn, says, Katie, you live in California and abortion is legal. You know you made that story up. How dare you bring your child into this? Because children are political tools. Everything is a political tool. Number one hustler. Lorianne, WTH, OMG, she said that. That's right, Lorianne. She did say that. Let's go now for the end of the program. Final takes.
Final take.
To take us through the most electric man in television, we turn it over now to the Don, the Sabado Gigante host of Will Cain Country. It is Tinfoil Pat.
Will.
Zach
Bryan, Grammy Award-winning country music singer, is in hot water after he released a snippet of his new song called Bad News. And it's coming under criticism because people believe he slammed ICE, the immigration enforcement. And so he said, and ICE is going to come bust down your door, try to build a house no one builds no more. And people are not happy about it. But Zach Bryan did clarify in a statement that this shows how divisive the narrative can be when shoved down our throats through social media. This song is about how much I love this country and everyone in it more than anything. When you hear the rest of the song, you'll understand the full context that hits on both sides of the aisle.
Put it out.
So do you think he's do you think that maybe we got a little too quick to cast judgment here? Or should we wait this out?
Here's what Zach Bryan said in a post. He said, on the new song. I wrote this song months ago. I posted this song 3 months ago as a snippet. This shows you how divisive a narrative can be when shoved down our throats through social media. This song is about how much I love this country and everyone and anything in it. When you hear the rest of the song, you'll understand the full context that hits on both sides of the aisle. Everyone using this now as a weapon is only proving how devastatingly divided we all are. We need to find our way back. He goes on to say, I served this country. I love this country. And the song itself is about all of us coming out of this divided space. I wasn't speaking as a politician or some greater than thou asshole, just a 29-year-old man who's just as confused as everyone else. To see how much shit is stirred up makes me not only embarrassed, but kind of scared. Left wing or right wing, we're all one bird and American. To be clear, I'm on neither of these radical sides. To all those disappointed in me on either side of whatever you believe in, just know I'm trying to my best too. And we all say things that are misconstrued. Everyone have a great day, and I love each and every one of you. So the rumors are that you might want to hear the rest of the song, that the rest of the song might have other parts of it that kind of change your opinion about what he said in this snippet about ICE. So I don't know. I haven't heard the rest of the song. I've heard rumors about what it might include, and I think it might live up to what he's saying here in this statement. Now, here's the deal. I'm a big fan. I love the music. I simply love Zach Bryan. I love kind of almost all of it. You guys know Oklahoma Smoke Show is one of my favorite songs.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I like Pink Skies. I like all of it, man. I really do. And I also see the videos out there of him getting into it with country music star Gavin Adcock. They almost got in a fight, separated by a chain link fence.
That was so
and I don't really
lame.
know what's going on with Zach Bryan. Which one were you? Who did you think was lame? Because I'll tell you what my social media said. Were you on Gavin Adcock's side, or were you on the side of Zach Bryan?
I think it was all lame. I think it was so stupid. But I mean, it was just tough seeing Zach trying to climb the fence and be like the hold me back guy, almost like the fence is in my way, or else I'll get to you. You know.
Well, my social media was going hard at Gavin Adcock, and I don't know what that is in my social media algorithm, but and by the way, I like them both, and it worked for Adcock because I wasn't super familiar with his music, but I started listening to it after this fight, and I was like, I kind of like this Gavin Adcock guy too. So I don't know what's going on with Zach. Like, he's gotten to the stage where the stuff going on outside of his music is as big as the stuff happening in his music, and I don't think that's a good place for an artist to be. I guess, I don't know. Like I said, it worked. It exposed me to Gavin Adcock, but like,
works for Kanye.
No, it does not.
It works for all of them.
It worked for a while.
He lost hundreds of millions of dollars
until it didn't work, but it worked.
Who's the artist? Who's the artist that says that he's now basically like a social media soap opera star? Is it Justin Bieber and everything going on with his girlfriend?
I mean, look at
don't
Taylor
keep up
Swift.
with it, but it's
yeah.
Her life is bigger than her music.
Her life is bigger than her music. Yeah, I guess that's the path we're headed here towards with Zach Bryan, which I don't like because I think his music is so great. So on this song, Tinfoil, I'm actually going to withhold judgment because I want to hear the entire song. Go ahead, Tinfoil.
That's probably fair. Anyway, so this weekend, big win for the Cowboys, and owner Jerry Jones has been fined after this $250,000 after flipping the bird to Jets fans. And he claims the gesture was inadvertent. I think you need to stand in the pain on this one.
How do you do that? How do you inadvertently... Was it the double bird?
No, it was just one. It was just a single bird.
I'm going to admit, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. Somehow it escaped my attention. Maybe I was reveling in the Cowboys' dominant victory over the Jets. I don't know how you inadvertently give someone the bird, but speaking of
scratch
soap
your finger
opera
like
stars,
this.
On your
it was
nose
not inadvertent.
Yeah.
I saw it. It was he meant to do it. He meant to do it.
It doesn't.
You're already being fined $250,000.
Sorry.
Just stand in the paint.
Speaking of a soap opera star that's bigger than the actual product, how about the Dallas Cowboys? Go ahead, take it away, Tinfoil Pat.
Yes. So, Amazon was in hot water because after they digitally removed guns from all of the posters for the James Bond film once they acquired all the rights. After a couple days, you can see that on the image there on the screen, there are no guns.
Like how they left the holster.
The holsters are there.
Like, what goes in
But
there?
the
I
guns
don't
are
know.
gone.
They are.
Now, it's all been remedied within 24 hours. The guns are back now. We don't have an image of that. But
stick to it.
You know, it just shows what...
Whose bright idea whose bright idea was this at Amazon? Not only is the holster there, but the gun is in the 007 logo as well. The 7 is turned into a gun. So whose bright idea was this? And by the way, it did occur to me. I was watching I think I was watching a trailer. I think it was for a Mark Wahlberg movie that's out on streaming services somewhere. I didn't watch the movie. But like in the movie, which is kind of comedic, it's like a little bit on play. Like, remember the movie The Nice Guys? I think with
love that movie,
Russell Crowe and
Ryan Gosling.
Who is it? Ryan Gosling. And so it's kind of in that vibe. It had Mark Wahlberg. And he was just capping a dude, like on the ground, just boom, boom. And they were making it like, it's like funny. I'm like, man, Hollywood has no problem. Like this idea of like pulling guns out of movies and violence out of movies, get out of here. Like, how do you make the movie like that and then remove James Bond's gun? Like, how are you having it both ways?
It's like when they pulled out cigarettes from movies too. Remember, they stopped smoking in movies because of the whole lobby.
Yes.
We're becoming
now,
lame
is
as
that
a
right?
society.
I don't notice that.
It's back.
Do you not see people smoking cigarettes?
It's back.
Oh, it's back?
So early 2000s, there was like a lobby to get it out of all movies and things like that because it was kind of gratuitous for a very long time. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cigarettes are back. Guns never went away. Take it away, Tinfoil.
Okay, last story. CBS Sports shared this meme, an image of if you could pick your sports career before it started, which career would you choose? And you have 4 options, and you can see it on the screen there. Option A, 15-time All-Star, 3-time MVP, no championships. B is no All-Stars, no MVPs, lots of playoff appearances, 5 championships. C is kind of a mix, 5 All-Stars, 2 championships.
Easy answer.
D is 3 All-Star appearances, an MVP, some playoffs, 1 championship. Now, what do? Do you be the ultimate team player with B? Do you go with like the Dan Marino career on A, or do you try to go with a mix between C or D?
We can mix
right.
Now.
It's a hard. It's kind
so
of
C
kind
and
of
D.
challenging.
C and D are the middle ground. So A and B offer you the 2 ends of the spectrum. Option A, 15 times All-Star, 3-time MVP, playoffs 5 times, but 0 titles. Option B is the other end of the spectrum. No All-Stars, no MVPs, in the playoff 12 times, 5 championship titles. You say, two-a-days, it's an easy answer. Then which is it?
Option B. Give me the championships all day. Don't care.
That's such the easy take.
No,
That's
it's
the popular
not.
take. That's
No,
the one
it's
you do.
not.
That's an image. That's an image take.
Wow.
That's a reputation. You're reputation farming right now.
100%.
That's what you're
That's
doing.
all he does. He's middle
Everybody in
ground
the
Dan.
militia.
That's what we call him.
Everybody in the militia thinks he's a huge lib. He's debated me on all these issues.
No.
And now he's reputation farming. He's
I wanna
reputation
hold up
farming
my
that
finger.
What he really is a team player.
Hold up my hand with all the rings on it. That's what I want to do. 5. I'm doing it. Why not?
So
I'm going A.
Who is that? Who is that? Who is it a Yankee from the 2000s? Like, where
Looks
do we
like Robert
find?
Horry.
Like, give me a good example.
Right?
Robert Horry's pretty good. Yeah, Robert Horry would be a good option B example. One of those Yankees, right, who was not one of the studs but was on all the teams.
Like
In
Jeter.
what's that?
Steve Kerr?
Well, Jeter's an all-star.
I just don't think he's very good.
Steve Kerr, yeah.
Overrated.
Right?
Steve Kerr is option
Yeah,
B.
Steve Kerr. Yeah.
Yep. And so option A is like Barry Bonds, right? That's Barry Bonds.
No, he played
15 times All-Star, 3.
Yeah.
No championships, 3 MVPs. That's Barry Bonds. And you said Marino, tinfoil. So
Yeah, I think that's close,
even
yeah.
though you accused Dan of being middle ground Dan, I don't think that's what he was doing. He picked one of the ends of the spectrum.
Yeah,
I'm going to be
see?
middle ground
There
Will.
you go.
I think option C. I think option C is the career. So 5 All-Stars, no MVPs, 9 times in the playoffs, 2 championships. What I get out of this is if I'm in the playoffs 9 times, I'm playing meaningful games throughout my career. I'm constantly in situations where it matters. I think it would be really rough to never make the playoffs, never or rarely have games that matter. Plus, I get to see it through. Not once. It wasn't luck like the option D, 1 championship title. I get 2. And I think 2 to 3 championships is a real nice career. Like One is, option D is actually Dirk Nowitzki, right? He was actually better than this, but three-time All-Star, one-time MVP, three playoff appearances, and one championship title. He was in the playoffs his whole career, and much more All-Stars, but one MVP. But I think I'm just looking at a balanced career, and I think I'm picking option C. 2 championships, 5 All-Stars.
Middle of the road.
I think
no one's going to remember you.
D is
forgotten, dust in the wind.
Yeah.
You think
A is it?
You think?
You either have to be A or B
A
to be
is
remembered.
it.
You have to be A or B to be remembered. The other ones you don't.
Well, I mean, I was looking for fulfilling career for me, not to be remembered. That's in other people's hands.
That's
how you
the whole
remember. I'm
point.
talking about what I can control.
Why are you living your life if not to be remembered?
Well, okay. I mean, John Wilkes Booth is remembered.
What?
Let's not clip that.
I'm clipping that.
Well, but that's your standard.
Will
to
Cain
be remembered.
compares athletes to John Wilkes Booth.
I compared Tinfoil Pat to John Wilkes Booth. That's what I did. He set the standard to be remembered. Like, you can be remembered for anything. There's like, in Barry Bonds, by the way, he's actually a good example because it's not all positive for Barry Bonds. So, to do that and never win a championship, man, to never win a championship, I don't think so.
But
if you ask,
are guys happy with that?
If you ask Dan Marino, how many Pro Bowls he would give away for a championship, I think he would say all of them.
Yeah,
all of them.
5 championships is what I'm talking about.
I think it's because he didn't grow up in a period where you made a crap ton of money like today. Like if he was playing his career
Money
now,
doesn't matter, but it's winning.
Oh yeah, well, he would be
Tinfoil is
like
about money and
$500
being
million.
remembered. Now,
we need a shrine of
fame
tinfoil.
and money. Shallow Pat.
Yeah.
Shallow Pat. That's what we've realized. New nickname. Shallow Pat. Selfish Pat.
You've changed, dog.
Yeah, you changed.
I don't know. I'm more like
now
B,
we
though.
know.
But anyway, what are you gonna do? Ultimate
No
team
All-Stars,
player.
but a ton of championships.
Yeah.
All right, well, we want you to let us know in the comments section, option A, B, C, or D. Let us know, Willisha. I am option C. That's going to do it for us today. We appreciate you hanging out with us here on Will Cain Country. We hope you will be back again tomorrow. Same time, same place. We'll see you again next time.